All right, today we're going to talk about something that's less of a command line tool and more of a system administration superpower. I'm talking about Rsync. Seriously, this thing is the key to smarter, way faster, and just more powerful file management, whether you've been doing this for years or you're just getting started. No, really, just think about that for a second. Forget sitting around for hours, watching your backups crawl. What if you could sync a massive 200 gigabyte server in less time than it takes to make a cup of coffee? Sounds kind of impossible, right? Well, this is exactly what Rsync was designed to do.
So how does it do it? The secret is all about efficiency. Instead of just blindly copying every single file every single time, Rsync is smart. It intelligently figures out which few files have been tweaked, or even just which parts of a big file have changed, and it only sends those. That's what makes it so incredibly fast.
And this magic has a name. It's called the delta transfer algorithm. You know, if you change just one line in a massive 10 gigabyte log file, Rsync isn't going to send that whole file over again. No way. It just sends that one tiny little piece, the delta, that actually changed. This is the core concept that makes everything else we're about to do possible.
Okay, enough theory. Let's put this magic to work. In this first section, we're going to build the perfect backup. This is your first big, tangible win with Rsync. First things first, you need to understand the two main ways to think about backups. A standard update just keeps your destination as a perfect mirror of your source. Simple. But a point-in-time snapshot, well, that's where it gets cool. That lets you keep multiple versions, like a backup for Monday, another for Tuesday, and so on, without completely devouring all your disk space.
And that space-saving trick, that's where Rsync truly shines. The key is this one flag, -link dest. See, for any file that hasn't changed since the last backup, Rsync doesn't make a new copy. Instead, it creates what's called a hard link. Just think of it like a pointer to the original file. The result? Every single one of your backup folders looks like a full, complete copy, but it's only using new disk space for the files that are actually new or modified. It's brilliant.
Now, to pull this off, you need the right tools, the right flags. The A for archive mode, that's your go-to. It preserves everything. .delete keeps your backup a perfect mirror. And Z is great for saving bandwidth. But the most important one, the one you absolutely have to remember, it's --dry run. Just call it the lifesaver, because it shows you exactly what Rsync is about to do before it actually does it. And here it is. Pay attention, because this is the single biggest mistake that trips up absolutely everyone, from beginners to pros, the trailing slash. Get this wrong and you're gonna have a mess. Just burn this into your brain. No slash on the source folder copies the folder itself. A slash at the end copies the contents of the folder. It is a tiny, tiny detail with massive consequences.
Okay, you've mastered backups. It's time to level up. We're talking about the boss level now, migrating a complete, live, running operating system from one disk to another.
I mean, this scenario sounds like it should be totally impossible, right? You've got two completely different file systems. But think about why you'd need this. You're upgrading a live server to a new SSD, maybe moving between cloud providers, and you need to do it with almost zero downtime. So can you actually just copy a running OS between them like that? And the answer is a huge, resounding yes. Here's why it works. Rsync couldn't care less about the file system underneath. It's file system agnostic. It operates at the file level. It just reads a file from the source and writes that file to the destination. It's basically translating between the two file systems on the fly. But cloning a whole OS, that requires a few more specialized flags. X is absolutely vital. It tells Rsync, hey, stay on this one file system, don't wander off into virtual ones like /proc. But the absolute golden rule here is -numeric IDs. This prevents a total permission nightmare by making sure user and group ownership is transferred by number, not name. It's what stops your web server from suddenly being owned by some random user on the new system. Now, Rsync is amazing, but it's not a magician. It moves all the files. But making the system bootable, that part's on you. There are two absolutely critical steps you have to do after the copy is done. First, you have to edit the fstab file to tell the operating system about its new home partition. And second, you have to chroot into that new system and reinstall the grub bootloader so it actually knows how to start up.
All right, we have successfully cloned a local OS. Now, let's take these skills and go remote. It's time to conquer your VPS, your virtual private server out there on the internet.
Okay, whoa. Take a deep breath. I know this command looks like an absolute monster, but trust me, it's just combining everything we've already learned. This is it. This is a command to pull an entire live server right out of the cloud down to your local machine. You can see all our old friends in there, -A for archive, -V for verbose, the XXX combo for cloning an OS, and of course our golden rule, -numeric IDs.
Let's just break down the new bits, because they're actually pretty simple. The ASCII SSH flag, that just tells Rsync to use a secure SSH connection to talk to the remote server. And the double exclude flag is our safety net. It's just a list of all those weird virtual or temporary directories we need to skip so we don't get a bunch of errors or download useless data.
And hey, here's a little pro tip for a situation you're definitely going to run into. What if you don't use the default SSH key for that server? No problem. You can specify a custom key right there in the command. Just wrap the whole SSH command in quotes after the -E, and you can tell Rsync exactly which key to use to get in.
You've backed up systems, you've migrated them, you've gone remote. You know, anyone can run a command when it works perfectly. The final step to true mastery is learning how to figure out what's going on when things don't go perfectly.
I want you to remember one number, 23. Sooner or later, you will see this number. It's one of the most common Rsync error codes, and believe me, when you're transferring hundreds of gigabytes of data, seeing an error pop up at the very end can be terrifying.
So you see this message, Rsync error code 23, and your heart just sinks, right? It says some files weren't transferred. Does that mean your entire backup is corrupt? Is it all useless? Do you have to start the whole thing over again? Okay, relax. Almost always the answer is a big, fat no. The key is just knowing which errors actually matter. If the files that failed are in these weird temporary directories like /run or /proc or /temp, you can totally ignore it. Those files only exist while the system is running anyway. But if you see errors for files in critical places like /etc or /home, yeah, that's when you need to stop and investigate.
But what if you need to be 1000% certain that your backup is perfect? Well, this is the command for that. Rerunning the whole thing with -dryrun and -checksum forces Rsync to go through and read every single bit of every file on both ends and compare them. It's definitely slower, but it is the ultimate way to guarantee your data is intact and to get some real peace of mind.
So when you really step back and look at it, Rsync is so much more than just a copy command, isn't it? It's a precision tool for making these super efficient snapshots, for pulling off complex server migrations, for managing data with real confidence. It is, without a doubt, the Swiss Army knife for your file system. We've gone from a simple backup all the way to a full remote server clone. You now have the skills to literally move and protect entire digital worlds. You've got the keys to the kingdom. So the only real question left is, with this kind of power at your fingertips, what are you going to build next?